Okay, one thing I want to add on is finding the vertices in the xy system. So here we found the vertices in the x prime y prime system, but I do want you to be able to find the vertices also in the xy system, so that way you know exactly where it is. So if we plug in this vertice square plus or minus root 2, 0 in our xy system into the equation here, right? So we have x and we have y. And so we just plug the positive root 2, 0 in here and over here, and that'll get us our x, one of our coordinates. And then if we plug in negative root 2, 0 into here, we'll get our other xy coordinate, and that'll be the vertices in the xy plane. So let's try that out in this example here. So let's check square root of 2 comma 0. Let's plug it into this x and y here. So x equals x prime. So this is our x prime, y prime. This is square root of 2 minus 0 over square root of 2. And so this ends up square root of 2 over 2. That's going to be 1. And then if we plug it into our y value, so y equals x prime, which is square root of 2 plus 0 over root 2, that is also going to be 1. So one vertex is at 1, 1, and so I was pretty close here. Then if we plug in negative root 2, 0, so we'll plug it in, and let me plug it in a different way. So this is negative root 2 minus 0 over root 2. And then we have negative root 2 plus 0 over root 2. Then you find that this is negative 1, negative 1. So here is our other vertice. So our vertices in the xy system is 1, 1, and negative 1, negative 1, which is true because it's right here. So here, because we didn't find that either in this example here, see if you can try to find it by plugging in the vertice that we found right down here into the xy. Okay, so if you tried this out, you should have found that the vertices in the xy system is negative root 6, square root of 6, and then also positive root 6 over negative root 6. And then again, if you want to know approximately where that is, square root of 6 is between square root of 4 and square root of 9. And so you know it's somewhere between 2 and 3. So if we're looking at it, it's, a little bit more than 2, less than 3. So if we go negative root 6, positive root 6, that is there. Same thing on this side. We go positive root 6 down negative 6, and there's our other vertice. So just good practice in finding it. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for these two examples here, just to kind of get a little more practice. So again, just plugging in each x, y, so our x prime, y prime, here it is, x prime, y prime. And then we plug it in for the positive and the negative, again, into our x and y that we found up here. So we're plugging in here in order to find what that point is. So let's do that. So we're plugging in first 2, 0, and then so this is going to be square root of 3 times 2 minus 0 over 2, and then 2 plus 0 over 2. And then we'll also plug in the negative 2, 0, and so that will be square root of 3 times negative 2 minus 0 over 2, and this is negative 2 plus 0 over 2. And so we find that the vertices in the xy system will be square root of 3, 1, and negative square root of 3, negative 1. So it was pretty close here in my drawing, so it just helps us find it here. So root 3 is a little over 2, and then 1. Square root of 3 and then 1, and then negative root 3 and then 1. So pretty close to my drawing here. It just helps us with that. So go ahead and try this last example here, finding the vertice in the xy plane. If we tried this out, you should have found that it was negative 3 root 3 over 2 and 3 halves, and then 3 root 3 over 2 minus 3 halves. And so this one I was much closer. So negative 3 root 3 over 2, that's a little over 2. And then notice it's about at a half. And then at positive 3 root 3 over 2, and then negative a half. So it's pretty good here in finding the vertices in the xy plane. So please make sure you are finding these in the homework assignment. I know it doesn't ask for it in there, but it's something that we will be asking for on any future quizzes or tests on this section.